lot of you would remember that in 2019, Tata Motors launched the Harrier Dark Edition, which was a blacked out version of an already spectacular looking vehicle. Now this one is not the same vehicle I'm standing with because Tata Motors has updated the Harrier Dark Edition, but it has not just stopped there. It has extended the Dark Edition theme to its other vehicles, including the Altroz, the Nexon EV and the internal combustion engine Nexon SUV as well. So what are the changes you get in these Dark Edition vehicles, and are they really worth the small premium that Tata Motors is charging? Well, over the next few minutes, that's exactly what I'll tell you. Now, before we go any further and tell you about the changes in detail, let me make it clear here that none of these models in their Dark Editions feature any kind of mechanical changes. So, be it the suspension, the chassis, the powertrain, everything remains the same. The changes are only cosmetic. Now, let's get down to the changes. Now, first, the Harrier. Well, it might look a lot similar to the earlier 2019 version, but the changes include a different shade on this one. Tata Motors claims that they have mixed a blue tinge in the shade, which should give this car a different kind of a look under varied lighting conditions. Now, we have been seeing and shooting this car inside the showroom in one type of light, so I cannot really tell you how much of a difference one can expect in terms of light, but I can tell you that the shade overall that Tata Motors has chosen looks quite nice, and there's a fair bit of gloss in the paint. Also, the Harrier Dark Edition now features larger 18-inch alloy wheels, which again adds a bit to the dynamic stance of the Harrier. And once you move over to the Nexon, well, again, Nexon's been given the same dark treatment and looks quite nice with the blacked out grille and the smoked out wheels. And of course, when you look at that nice looking aluminium belt line, the silver belt line that goes on from the A pillar right up to the C pillar, that breaks the monotony of black and adds a bit of premium dash into the overall looks. Even if you talk about the Altroz is undoubtedly one of the most stunning cars in its segment, and it now gets better in the Dark Edition. You get the similar dark treatment all around, so it's blacked out and it's got these dark wheels which go along well with the design of the car. That said, you have nice chrome elements in the front grille which kind of break the black and the dark shade and give it a nice zesty look. All of these cars in the Dark Edition look a lot better than the standard models. That is, if you are someone who likes black or who loves dark colors. And now let's talk about the changes inside the cabin of these cars and start off with the Harrier first. Now the Harrier, as you can see, the seats get a nice tri-arrow pattern with a blue shade, and that kind of goes well with the overall black theme. So it stands out and gives the car a nice zesty look. Apart from that, if you look at the overall cabin, you'll see a lot of dark chrome that has been used, and that looks a lot better than the silverish chrome. So again, it gives the car a good energetic feeling but doesn't look cheap also. And beyond that, if you look at the leather upholstery, it also has a faux leather upholstery, so that again adds to the premium quotient of the vehicle. Now the other good thing that has been added in the Dark Editions is the inclusion of a puncture repair kit, which will be available on all models. So that is one really nice thing that Tata Motors has added for the convenience of the customers. The availability of these Dark Edition trims in the models discussed will be different though. The Harrier, well, if you want a Dark Edition Harrier, you can have it in the upper three trims, but the same is not true for the Altroz. If you want the Altroz in the Dark Edition theme, you can have it only with the petrol engine and in its top variant only. you cannot go in for a diesel dark edition. However, that's not true for the Nexon. In the Nexon, you can opt in for either of the petrol or the diesel options, and you can again have the dark edition in multiple variant options. So a little bit more options and choices are available in terms of dark edition for Nexon and Harrier customers compared to the Altroz. And the changes inside the cabin of the Nexon and Altroz are quite similar to what we showed you on the Harrier. So they also get again seats which get these tri-arrow pattern with a blue background, and again with combined with the dark theme of the cars, both the cars inside, this theme stands out, and the elements also inside have been given the dark effect. So all in all, when you sit inside these cars, you continue to get a nice premium feel. And the only slight drawback to this update is that when you're in the Harrier, it doesn't make much of a difference. But when you sit in the Altroz, because now everything around you is a little bit darker, so the feeling of space, the kind of airiness that you would otherwise experience in an Altroz, that gets shrunk a bit. So while the Altroz Dark Edition has the same amount of space as any other normal variant in the lineup, it just feels a little more closed and a little more tighter because of the dark colors used inside the cabin. Now, before going to the conclusion of this video, let me tell you that the changes or the updates in the Dark Edition are not just restricted to these vehicles. Tata Motors has also launched a range of merchandise, that is the Dark Edition merchandise. So you can opt for jackets, t-shirts with the Dark Edition theme in addition to buying these vehicles. So there you have it then. There are a number of changes that have been made cosmetically to all these four cars to give the Dark Edition a much better value proposition. Now, talking of value, well, you will end up paying somewhere between 17 to about 40,000 rupees depending on the model and the variant you choose. And if you look at the value offering vis-a-vis the kind of changes and updates that these vehicles have got, I think that's not much of a price to pay, because for that you get a lot of exclusivity and you also get a vehicle that is better looking than the standard versions in the range, as long as black is your poison.